Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make an automatic farm in Minecraft. Not really that automatic, but it's automatic as you're going to get, and you're going to be stacked in carrots, potatoes, wheat, anything that you are growing really fast. This is what it's going to look like at the end of the day. Before we get started, I just want to say, please consider subscribing if you guys feel like I did provide enough content at the end of this video. Over 99% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. Just go ahead and take that into consideration. Alright, so what we're going to need for this build is a bunch of repeaters, a bunch of redstone dust, a bunch of dispensers, one stone button, a bunch of water buckets, a bunch of building block, a bunch of building block slab, a bunch of lighting blocks. This has to be a lighting block because we're going to be pouring water over it, and if you put a torch or anything, it's just going to be despawned. It'll disappear, going to go into all the hoppers. You're going to need dirt, you're going to need some glass panes, you need some hoppers, and about 4 chests, depending on how big you want to make your storage facility. Now, I'm not providing any exact numbers for this, even though you have 2 stacks right here, because theoretically you can make this farm as large as you want. Alright, so to start off, we're just going to be making a 4 rectangle, just like this. And then we're going to be counting this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to be hollowing this rectangle out, and just go ahead and place dirt all over it. So we got our first platform. So after that, just go up by 1 and just repeat the same rectangle again, like I showed you guys. Alright, so I'll be making this 5 tall and about 4 columns wide. But you guys can make this as big as you want. Just keep in mind that if you guys do go ahead and make it as big as you want, there's something called chunks in Minecraft, which could be the reason why you might have a bad time in this farm if you make it very big, because a lot of those chunks, depending on how big you make it, might not be loaded. Just keep that in mind. Just make it a reasonable size. It should be a great farm either way. Now, like I said, I am going to be making this about 5 tall, 4 columns wide. But before we do that, I want to show you how you're going to be making the next one after this one. Just go ahead and leave this little column or little row empty. Don't put any dirt, don't put anything on it just yet, and just go ahead and skip 1. Repeat the same figure all over again. Fill it up with dirt and just repeat the same process all over again. And like I said, you can make this as big as you want. Alright, so like I said, I'll be making it 4 wide, 5 tall. You can see just how this is looking right now. Alright, next up, we're just going to be grabbing our andesite and our lighting block. You can go ahead and use glowstone, but I'm using sea lanterns because I want it to look nice. So just go ahead and fill up this here in the middle, 1, 2, 3, and then put sea lantern, 1, 2, 3, lighting block. Just so this is just going to be acting as our division for our plots, and it's also going to be stopping mobs from spawning in our land. So just go ahead and repeat this process for all over those little holes in your farm. Alright, so once you're done doing that little process, it should be looking a little bit like this, and it should be gaining a lot of form now. Next up, we're going to be using our building block and our building slabs because we're going to be building the border for this farm so that all the crops that are coming into the hoppers don't flow out of the farm and become entities, and then we have to deal with a lot of lag. You have to collect them, not automatic stuff. Alright, so you just want to come over here to the side and then just go ahead and build 1.5 blocks above where the farmland is. So just 1.5 slabs above where the farm is at, and you should be good to go. Alright, it should be looking a little bit like this after you're all done. Next up, we're just going to be putting the dispensers. So you're going to need your dispensers and your building blocks. Like I said, I don't know how much dispensers you're going to need because theoretically you can make this farm as big as you wanted to. Now you're just going to come over to the last block of your farm. You're going to build 1 out just like this. And this is where it gets expensive, guys, because we're going to have to put dispensers all over the place right here. So just 1 row of dispensers above that building block. So it should look a little bit something like this. Alright, next up, we're going to be putting a water bucket inside each of these dispensers. This is where it starts to get a little bit expensive because all the dispensers are going to be using a water bucket, and depending on how many dispensers you're going to be using, you could be using 30 buckets, you could be using 15, you could be using 10. So just go ahead and put a water bucket inside of each of these dispensers. Now, the reason why we needed to put a water bucket inside each of these, it's because that's what actually is going to be collecting all of the crops. You're going to be sending them into the hoppers that we're going to be collecting them in. So it should look a little bit like this, just that now you're going to have water buckets inside all of your dispensers. All right, after you put your water bucket inside of the dispensers, you're going to be building the back portion of this, which is going to be the redstone. So you're going to want to build out 4 after the dispensers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And go ahead and go out by 1 just like this, and you just want to go ahead and repeat this process all over the place right here. Alright, so it should look a little bit like this. Alright, now we're just going to be grabbing a repeater and putting it facing each of our dispensers. So as you can see, there's a little arrow right here. It's telling you which direction it's facing in. There are going to be a minimum delay, so no tick delay. So you're going to be using just putting a repeater into each of these. Now the reason we need a repeater for each of this is because of how much redstone we're going to be having here, just redstone dust. If we put it a certain way, it's not going to turn on the dispenser. Alright, after you put all your repeaters behind the dispensers, we're going to be building our button circuitry. So you're just going to be going one out from here and just connecting this line of blocks all the way to your repeaters. Just like that. And then we're just going to be putting redstone right here. Gonna put a button, and just remember each redstone will die out at 16, so just be safe about it and put some repeaters. Alright, so once you basically put your redstone all the way like this, just connecting all the way to the dispenser, you're gonna be putting a redstone dust right behind each of these repeaters. Just like that, just a line of redstone dust right behind it. We're gonna be putting a repeater right here. Put some redstone dust connecting your circuitry to this. Put it on minimum delay. And just go ahead and build a line of redstone right here. Now this is where you want to be cautious about where you put your redstone, because you do run the risk of building a redstone clock. And we do not want to build a redstone clock. Now after you finish putting all your redstone, connecting everything, go ahead and test it. You don't lose anything by test it. So one button is going to be turning on the water. Another push is going to be turning off the water. Now after you connected all your redstone circuitry, we're going to be turning this into farmland. However, if you turn this into farmland, if you tilt this, it's going to be turning right back into dirt because there's no water adjacent to it. So to fix that, we're just going to be taking out the first of each level. So just take these out. Don't worry, we'll replace them right now. And just go ahead and take one out from the dispensers, just like so. Then just put a water source block right below it. Put some dirt above it. And that's going to be making this farmland. Then the next level, we're going to be doing the same fix. We're putting water bucket, dirt. Alright, so just go ahead and repeat this process all over the farm. Now that you've put your water sources right behind the farmland, you can go ahead and tilt all the farmland. So let's grab a hoe right here. And as you can see, I'm placing my tick RNG at about 1,000. So you'll see them turn into soiled farmland right away, but not everything's soiled right here. And then just go ahead and tilt all of your farmland. If you really care about cosmetics, you can go ahead and fill this little area behind the block out. I don't really care about cosmetics, so I'm going to be leaving it blank. Alright, so now that everything is looking tilted, go ahead and dig out by one. Right here in the last border. Now, go ahead and find the middle. I don't really know if there's a middle to the floor here. I think this is the middle. So I'm going to be putting just a nice little hole right here. Depending on how many chests you want, you can go ahead and make this area as steep as you want. Alright, then really simple. Just want to go ahead and put hoppers right here connecting to these chests. And then just go ahead and put hoppers connecting to all these hoppers right here. You can also speed up this process by just putting water right here, collecting it to the hoppers. Then you run into the problem of having a lot of entities lying around because the hoppers are not going to be collecting it as fast. So honestly, guys, just go ahead and use hoppers. So we should have our line of hoppers connecting to the chests like this. The last step that we're going to be doing for this farm is we're going to be putting glass panes above the hoppers too tall, just so the crops don't actually go past the hoppers, because when you're working with this farm, the crops are going to be working really weirdly. Alright guys, so now you have your glass panes right here. All your crops are going to be going into the hoppers directly and not overshooting by a lot. I also just went ahead and put a block above our dispensers just because I really cared about the symmetricality of it. Besides that, you can go ahead and normally I like to grab some carrots and potatoes, because for me this isn't really a food farm. It's more of an emerald farm, so I can trade these guys into emeralds with villagers. So you just go ahead and plant it. Like I said, my tick speed is at about 1,000, so you're going to be seeing a lot of them grow really fast. Alright guys, so after you've planted all your stuff and let it grow for a bit, it should be looking a little bit like this. Like I said, my tick speed is about 1,000. But after, let's say that everything is done, right here, go ahead and press your button once, and then it'll farm. Press them again, and it'll turn off the water. Now all of your carrots and potatoes are going to be ending up right here. After you've done this, depending on how large your farm actually is, you will have to wait about 5 minutes for everything to end up in the chests. As you can see, I have a chest right below it. So everything's going right here. But there's a lot of stuff right here, a lot of stuff right here. Now I'll see you in about 5 minutes when everything's done sorting. Alright guys, so just go ahead and look at how much stuff we farmed after just one round. All these potatoes, all these carrots. So after that, you're just gonna have to go ahead and take all your stuff and replant it again. And at one point, you're going to be stacked with so much carrots and so much potatoes. If you guys did enjoy the video and you feel like I provided value to you, please go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like the video. If I didn't provide any value to you and you hated this tutorial, go ahead and leave a dislike just so that I know that, hey, I need to work some stuff. And go ahead and tell me why in the comments, why you didn't like it, so I know how to go ahead and make tutorials for you guys. But besides that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and subscribe. Thanks.